Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
The state will start doing damage assessments today on communities that look like this after last week's EF3 tornado. Coming up, I'll explain what's the state's next step to prevent storm damage in the future.
And we had some thunderstorms overnight last night. Most of those have moved out, but I'll show you where we just had a flood advisory. It looks like it just now expired.
Plus, a man is dead and 2 others are injured after an overnight fight in Durham. Coming up, what we're still working to find out from investigators.
All right, Jeff Hogan here. Thanks so much for joining us. Monday morning, just getting started. Might be the best day of the week. Weather-wise, good to have you with us.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit cooler today, temperature-wise. I started out a little stormy this morning. Did you hear the storms last night?
I heard some of the rain coming. I didn't hear the worst of it, but saw some puddles, and you may see them too as you head out this morning. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. That's moved off in radar.
For the most part, things are looking pretty quiet now. We did have some stronger storms overnight last night. As a matter of fact, right around the Triangle area, parts of Wake County and some surrounding counties had a severe thunderstorm warning at about 1:40 this morning. No damage reported with that. And then we've had a good bit of thunderstorm activity early this morning along the I-95 corridor. Most of that is over, at least at the moment, but we could see more bubbling up. We're seeing this here in Warren County. We're starting to see most of this sliding east. And there was a flood advisory that was in effect until 9:45. That has expired, but we will take a look at how much rain we saw in that part of Halifax and Edgecombe counties. It was a lot. And then over here between Warrenton and Littleton, just a little cell is popping up there, just a little bit of light patchy rain, no lightning with that just now. Mostly cloudy skies in the bulk of the viewing area. There are a few holes in the clouds here and there. We may continue to have a few isolated showers or thunderstorms in our northeast counties for the next few hours, and then some sunshine trying to break through during the afternoon, and possibly a stray storm down to the south during the evening hours. But rainfall-wise, we don't have a lot more coming our way. A lot of low cloud cover in spots, including Anger. 74 is our temperature. 71 is the dew point. We're looking at temperatures mainly in the low to mid-70s right now, and our hour-by-hour forecast takes us into the mid-80s this afternoon. Now, that might sound fantastic, but we still have a really sticky air mass in place, so it's going to feel more like low to mid-90s this afternoon. We are headed into the triple digits, though, with our heat index. I'll show you when that hits coming up, Brian.
8:02 right now, Elizabeth. Just getting reports of a crash in Garner, apparently on 70 Business, just to the east of the I-40 interchange. Working to get some details about that. Looking a lot better right now with the live update of sensors on 40 westbound. We had an earlier crash between 42 and the Clayton bypass that contributed to some big backups coming in from the McGee's Crossroads area, but it looks like traffic's clearing up nicely, and we're seeing just a little bit of brake tapping between 42 and the bypass. Also look out for some ramp delays on 42 itself through that area. Let's take a look at your major approaches into Raleigh, and we're picking up a 2-minute delay right now on 40 westbound, leaving 42 heading through Garner. Not talking about big problems through that section of Wake County. We are picking up some delays on 40 westbound on the south side of Raleigh between Lake Wheeler Road out toward Gorman Street. But once you hit US 1, you're in good shape heading out toward the west side of Raleigh. And still tracking a 4-minute delay as you come in from Wake Forest on southbound Capitol Boulevard. We've been watching some backups on 40 westbound heading out of Durham and into Chapel Hill. A report of a crash between Irwin Road and 86. But right now, looks like that is all cleared and traffic is flowing freely.
Thanks for that, Brian. One man is dead. 2 others are injured after a fight in Durham overnight. WRAL's Michael Grace is in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker live on Anger Avenue where this all happened. Michael, 2 men taken to the hospital. Is that what we know?
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. 2 taken to the hospital with serious injuries. One of those men was the one who unfortunately passed. Another had minor injuries. And I want to get you to this video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. This all happened just before 2 a.m. Some sort of fight broke out. We're still working to find out the names of those men involved and find out which ones will be facing any charges. But Durham police have said that they believe this is an isolated incident and there's no threat to the public at this time. Live in Durham, Michael Grace, WRAL News.
Work on a major road in Raleigh will affect people's morning commute all this week. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us now to tell us about the ongoing Beltline Improvements Project and where drivers might run into some of these ramp closures. Laura, good morning.
Right now, we are near the I-40 exit and Airport Boulevard, where you can see construction crews hard at work. If you're passing through this area, you will notice all of the cones, the flashing lights, and of course, the road closure signs. The two ramps connecting I-40 to Airport Boulevard will be closed for several months. We're talking about the I-40 West ramp to Airport Boulevard and the Airport Boulevard ramp onto I-40 East. It's all part of an ongoing project. New reconstructed ramps will accommodate the future diverging diamond design at the interchange. They are expected to reopen later in the fall. Crews have also temporarily closed a ramp from Western Boulevard to I-440 West. Crews are rebuilding the ramp and a portion of the new outer lanes of the Beltline. The closure is expected to last the entire week. And of course, it is very important that you are mindful of the construction crews hard at work during this process and pay attention to the signs. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Morrisville.
Poland Road is back open this morning after a person was hit and killed by an Amtrak train. Passengers reached out to us about what they were told. They said the Amtrak train left the Raleigh station heading to Cary last night when the train stopped, and passengers were told that a person was hit and that they had died. The incident happened on Poland Road at Baver Drive. The roads were closed while authorities investigated, but have since reopened.
Happening today, emergency officials will be in Nash and Edgecombe counties to assess the damage last week's EF3 tornado left behind. These evaluations will let us know how much help is needed from the federal government. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us now to explain how long this process might take. Kelsey.
Good morning. So they're hoping to wrap up this damage assessment by Wednesday, and state aides are going to have a lot to work through. Take a look at what's happening right now in a neighborhood in Dorches. Community members are gathering around to clean up and see what's left of their belongings after last week's tornado. And we'll know how much federal and state aid is needed based on the results that they'll be able to find from the damage assessment. Governor Cooper toured the area yesterday. The state's next step is to figure out how they can best help people who lost almost everything. But one of the questions that we've asked the most since the tornado is what's next for Pfizer? The company has agreed to pay employees who are without work right now.
Continue to stay online and continue to employ people in this area. That's really important.
And Governor Cooper now is looking ahead to the future after yesterday's storm. He says that the state is now considering updating building codes so that homes can be more resilient after storms in the future. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Dorches.
It's also a way for you to help the people who were living in the tornado's path. The Rocky Mountain Area Chamber of Commerce and United Way has set up the Twin County Tornado Disaster Relief Fund. Anyone can donate, and 100% of the money goes to the people affected by the tornado. You can make a donation online or by mail, and you have all the information you need just by going to WRAL.com and search tornado.
We're working to confirm information about a terrible crash in Wake County near the Granville County border involving a car and a motorcycle. This all happened in the Creedmoor area along Beaver Dam Road and Rogers Quarter Road. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there on Sunday. You can see the damaged car and motorcycle as state troopers investigated there. We will bring you any updates as soon as we get them. And we're still working to learn the identity of a man killed in a shooting in Durham. Police found a man with a gunshot wound on Holloway Street early Sunday morning. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there. We've learned the man died at the hospital.
Extreme heat is scorching much of our country, and it is melting records. More than 24 heat records were either set or tied over the weekend. States including Arizona, Idaho, Montana, and Nevada all felt record heat. The temperature has risen above 110 degrees for 24 straight days in Phoenix. And in El Paso, Texas, the temperature has gone over 100 for 38 straight days. The National Weather Service says there's really no sign of this streak ending anytime soon.
We are one day away from a Mega Millions drawing worth at least $820 million. No one matched all 5 white balls plus the mega ball on Saturday night. The cash option, $422 million. The next drawing is tomorrow night. You can watch it on WRAL right before our 11 o'clock news. Well, coming up, family and friends plead for help in finding a missing woman.
This has been a week of pure torture. And we just need help to bring her back.
what we know about the disappearance of Alicia Watts.
Plus, investigators are digging for more evidence in the Gilgo Beach murders, literally digging, as you see, the growing search for answers from a suspected serial killer.
And we had some showers and thunderstorms early this morning. Most of those are over, but we'll go over Futurecast and I'll show you when another chance will be coming up.
.13 is the time right now on your Monday morning. This is a live look down in Fayetteville right now. There's some blue sky peeking through right there as you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. But maybe the pick day of the week as far as temperature is concerned. Elizabeth Gardner of the WRAL Severe Weather Center, maybe not 90 today?
Yeah, maybe we pick no days this week. No, I'll show you why coming up. But we're going to start with the radar here. We did have a number of thunderstorms pop up this morning. Some of those produced some heavy rain and lightning. Most of that is over with right now, but we do still have a little bit of activity that's just outside of our viewing area. That's moving away from us. We also have this tiny little batch of rain that's just west of Roanoke Rapids there in Warren County. Not much to really be concerned about. But let's talk about how much rain we saw out of the system. We had one cell. This is all within the last 24 hours. So we had almost 2 inches of rain there north of Clinton. We had a severe thunderstorm warning overnight in the Triangle. With that, we had top end about 3/4 of an inch. But east of Goldsboro, we had almost 3 inches, about 2 inches in southwestern Wilson County. And then coming up here, we really had some heavy rain here too. We ended up with anywhere from almost 2 inches to almost 3 inches in this band, really kind of on either side of Roanoke Rapids. And then down to the south, this is what was our latest little cell that popped up. That one produced 3.5 inches of rain just north of Tarboro. But you can see how tiny these are. It was a tiny little cell, and it just dumped a lot of heavy rain. Here's a look at our big picture. We have a low pressure system swinging on by. Once it moves on by, we should be fairly dry with just a small chance of a thunderstorm. We're going to walk through Futurecast here. Between now and say 10 or 11 o'clock, we might have a few more little cells that pop up in our northeastern counties. We have a lot of cloud cover that is in place right now, keeping our temperatures down this morning. And then this evening, there could be a few stray storms that pop up, especially between, say, Southern Pines, Fayetteville, and Clinton. But I wouldn't count on seeing these big, heavy rains coming through your area. Most of us won't see that. So 20% chance Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You might have to pull out the sprinklers again, especially by the middle of the week, because it's going to be so hot. We're looking at cloudy skies in Apex, Chapel Hill, Goldsboro, a little bit of sunshine there at our Fayetteville newsroom on Hay Street. Tracking the tropics, we've been watching this system down to the south. It's struggling, still just a 20% chance of developing. If it were to develop, it would move into the southern part of the Caribbean. Dawn has just been very interesting to watch. It became a hurricane on Saturday. It's back to tropical storm strength, but it looks like today will be the last of that system. We check out our temperatures. Now on paper over here, that 87, I know it's not paper, just bear with me, 87 today, but the heat index is going to make it feel like 92 to 94. Then we climb into the 90s, and by Wednesday, it'll feel like triple digits. Wednesday will feel like 101, and that just continues to build all the way until we hit Friday and Saturday, where it's likely to feel like 105 or so, and we could end up with a heat advisory. So, hey, that's what we got to look forward to, Brian.
Summer in North Carolina.
Yeah.
How about that? It is 8:16 now as we take a look at traffic. Good news. It looks like that earlier crash at 70 at Guy Road has cleared now, but we do have reports of a crash on White Oak Road just south of Business 70 there near that shopping center in Garner. They're working to get that cleared right now. Elsewhere around the Triangle, we're in pretty good shape. Not seeing any big delays on any of our major routes. So let's remind you about those ramp closures we've been telling you about this morning. The east side of that Airport Boulevard I-40 interchange, those ramps are going to be closed for several months as they build a new bridge out there. They're turning that into a diverging diamond interchange similar to the one out here at Western at 440. So until they're able to reopen all of that, use Aviation Parkway as your best alternate route to get from I-40 westbound up to the airport, the RDU area. Taking a look at the west side of Raleigh, speaking of Western at 440, they have closed the ramp from Western Boulevard onto 440 westbound. They're lining it up with the newly widened lanes out there on 440, and they're anticipating it's going to be closed for quite a while here for the next week or so. So keep that in mind this morning. They do have a detour that takes you up to Hillsborough Street and back down.
All right, thank you, Brian. Friends and family members of a Moore County woman are asking for the public's help in finding her. They say 39-year-old Alicia Watts has not been seen since last Sunday. We spoke with a friend who says Watts traveled last weekend to the Charlotte area with a new boyfriend in her black Mercedes SUV. Leerin Blue says a missing persons report is now filed with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, as well as Moore County and Siler City.
She's also a vital piece of the community as far as she's involved in several organizations in our community. She gives back. She gives of her time. She gives her heart. She gives anything that she knows a person needs. She willingly, freely gives. She's just a wonderful person who just wants to see everybody win.
Because this has been a week of pure torture. And we just need help to bring her back.
We have reached out to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. We are waiting to hear back.
Deadly heat is on the rise in national parks across the U.S. In fact, park officials say since June 1st, more people are suspected to have died from heat-related causes in national parks than in an average year. There have been 5 heat-related deaths so far this year, which does not include the deadliest month for heat in parks, which is coming. That's August. All of this year's suspected heat-related deaths took place in 3 national parks: Grand Canyon, Death Valley, and Big Bend. These parks are also responsible for more than half of the 68 heat-related deaths reported by the Park Service since 2007.
The search is expanding today for 4 people missing in the historic flooding on Canada's eastern coast. Dramatic video from Nova Scotia shows rescuers lowering into rushing floodwaters and battling ferocious winds to airlift a camper there. Flooding across the province has caused severe damage to roads, homes, bridges, and railways. At least 4 people, including 2 children, disappeared after the cars they were in became submerged and floodwaters. Thunderstorms dumped 3 months worth of rain in areas in less than 24 hours.
New this morning, Russia is accusing Ukraine of striking 2 buildings in Moscow with drones. No serious damage or injuries reported out of it, but it comes one day after Volodymyr Zelensky vowed to retaliate after a Russian strike that damaged a historic cathedral in Ukraine. Ukraine's emergency service released this video showing firefighters rescuing people and ancient religious artifacts in Odessa. Russian missiles struck the city early Sunday morning, killing 1 person and hurting 22 others. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia launched 19 missiles. The air defense says it shot down 9 of those.
The man charged with stabbing 3 people in Oxford last Monday will be in court this morning. According to court documents, 21-year-old Malik Webb was transferred to another facility last week to get mental health treatment. The documents also name the 3 victims: Edward Shaw, Robert Frazier, and Terry Hobgood. The police chief told us they still do not have a motive.
Investigators on Long Island are digging for more evidence at the house of suspected serial killer Rex Heuermann. Authorities were using an excavator there yesterday as the search grows. Heuermann is charged in the murders of 3 women and is a suspect in the death of a 4th. The women's bodies were found in 2010 and 2011 along nearby Gilgo Beach. Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to all the charges.
14 Republican candidates already have announced they're running for their party's presidential nomination next year. And as of Sunday, 7 of them have met the polling requirements to appear in next month's presidential debate. The candidates who have qualified, including former President Donald Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Other candidates who have qualified include tech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy and former Vice President Mike Pence. He's also met the criteria. So has former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, Senator Tim Scott, and Chris Christie. As for the other 7 candidates, it is unclear if they will meet that threshold when the debate is held on August 23rd.
Concern over the availability of workers is pushing more states to allow younger teens to serve alcohol. A report says states like Wisconsin and Idaho are joining a growing list to lower the minimum age for those who serve. 7 of 9 states proposing lower ages since 2021 have approved them. The changes are coming by pushes from the National Restaurant Association and restaurants, which is having a hard time finding workers. Some see the proposals as loosening overall child labor protections.
What's become known as Barbenheimer is even more popular than expected. Barbie and Oppenheimer brought moviegoers back to the theaters in record numbers this weekend. Barbie had a first place debut, pulling in about $155 million in the U.S. and Canada. Oppenheimer opened in second place with more than $80 million. This makes it the fourth highest growing weekend at the box office in North America.
What we're seeing is Barbie and Oppenheimer from Warner Brothers and Universal really lean into this Barbenheimer phenomenon that was organically made through the social media channels. However, they both embrace it. And I don't know if we'll ever see something quite like this again.
And ahead in the next half hour, we'll look at some of the fashion that fans are bringing to the theaters. Well, coming up, we could soon know if we're alone in the universe, what we know about the hearing that will assess UFOs and their possible threats to us.
Plus, tornado damage assessments begin today in Nash and Edgecombe counties. Coming up, what the governor wants to do to ensure those homes are more resilient in the future.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good Monday morning. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. We saw some storms overnight, but everything is clearing out. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has what's in store for today.
So things do look much better than they did overnight last night. There was some heavy rain in pockets, anywhere from 1 to about 3 inches. But it's pretty quiet now. A couple of isolated showers up here in the northeast, especially just west of Roanoke Rapids. The rest of that is moving out of our viewing area right now. We could have more isolated showers and thunderstorms in our southern counties later on this evening. And we have a lot of cloud cover. You can see it's very gray in Apex right now. That will actually help to keep our temperatures down, and it may be a more comfortable day at the pool. Now, actual highs will be in the mid to upper 80s, but with the heat index, it's still going to feel like low to mid 90s. Brian?
Elizabeth here at 827, getting reports of some sort of an incident out at 440 eastbound and Wade Avenue. Not really seeing any problems on 440 itself, but certainly those inbound lanes or eastbound lanes of Wade Avenue are backing up pretty badly, beginning between the Edwards Mill Road and Blue Ridge Road interchanges all the way toward 440. Need to allow some extra time as you head through there. That gives some indication this may be on a ramp there from Wade Avenue onto 440 eastbound. Right now, at least, all your major approaches into Raleigh are looking pretty good. No big problems coming in from Garner on 40 westbound, and out of Knightdale, just a 1-minute delay on 87 southbound.
All right, thanks, Brian. Today, officials will begin assessing the damage from an EF3 tornado that hit Nash and Edgecombe counties last week. After damage assessments are complete, state officials will get a sense of the cost so they'll know what they can request for state and federal aid. Next on Fox 50, Elizabeth Gardner will let us know what to expect in the muggy day ahead. And next on Today, the viral skincare hacks to add to your routine today.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
The state will start a damage assessment today for communities that look like this after last week's EF3 tornado. Coming up, I'll explain what's next for the state in preventing storm damage in the future.
And taking a live look at radar, things have really quieted down since overnight last night, but we may have more storms later on today. I'll show you where.
A man is dead and 2 others are injured after an overnight fight in Durham. Coming up, I'll tell you what we're still working to find out from investigators.
Still a lot to get to for your Monday morning. Thank you for making us your choice for news. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, great to have you along here as we get our Monday going together here. It's calm out there right now. Was not so overnight. Woke a lot of folks up. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. One of them as these storms roll through.
Yeah, right now everything is looking pretty good. We did have several cells that popped up along and east of I-95. Those are dissipating pretty quickly. There's one tiny little one that's just to the west of Roanoke Rapids there. It's not doing much. We don't have any lightning associated with it. It's pretty tiny. But some of these cells, which most people didn't see, dumped as much as 1 to 3.5 inches of rain overnight last night. We take a look at futurecast. and you can see kind of that last bit of those sliding on out. It wouldn't be out of the question to see one or two just tiny cells pop up between now and noon, but the only one right now is in Warren County. Checking out Futurecast late this evening. We may have one or two cells again pop up down to the south. We're seeing mostly cloudy skies right now. We'll see a little bit of sunshine during the afternoon, and then, as I mentioned, a tiny chance of a shower. Southern Pines, Fayetteville to Clinton. We take a live look at Anger. Low cloud cover hanging here right now. It's 74 degrees and our dew point 71. So that dew point at 71 is really muggy, but our temperatures are feeling pretty comfortable. Right now we're in the low to mid 70s. It does feel sticky as you head outside. Temperature is likely to climb into the mid to upper 80s, but we'll still have a heat index to deal with because our dew point will remain in the low 70s. So it's going to feel like low to mid 90s. Still, by far, this will end up being the coolest day of the week. We are headed for a stretch of days with triple-digit heat indices. I'll show you that coming up.
One man is dead, 2 others are injured after a fight in Durham overnight. Michael Grace is in the WRAL breaking news tracker on Anger Avenue on that scene where 2 men were taken to the hospital.
Yeah, we know 2 people were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. One of those men unfortunately died. The third man had minor injuries. And I want to get you to this video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. This all happened just before 2 a.m. when a fight broke out between those 3 men. And we're still working to find out the names of those men, find out if any of them are going to be facing charges. Police have said that this is an isolated incident and they don't see any threat for the public. In Durham, Michael Grace, WRAL News.
Well, you'll have to find an alternate route to RDU Airport over the next few months. The Beltline Improvements Project is closing down a few ramps in Raleigh. And WRAL's Laura Levine breaks down the closures that may impact your commute to and from work in the next couple of weeks.
Right now, we are near the I-40 exit and Airport Boulevard where you can see construction crews hard at work. If you're passing through this area, you will notice all of the cones, the flashing lights, and of course, the road closure signs. The 2 ramps connecting I-40 to Airport Boulevard will be closed for several months. We're talking about the I-40 West ramp to Airport Boulevard and the Airport Boulevard ramp onto I-40 East. It's all part of an ongoing project. New reconstructed ramps will accommodate the future diverging diamond design at the interchange. They are expected to reopen later in the fall. Crews have also temporarily closed a ramp from Western Boulevard to I-440 West. Crews are rebuilding the ramp and a portion of the new outer lanes of the Beltline. The closure is expected to last the entire week. And of course, it is very important that you are mindful of the construction crews hard at work during this process and pay attention to the signs. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Morrisville.
Part of Pullen Road is back open this morning after a person was hit and killed by an Amtrak train. Passengers reached out to WRAL about what they were told. They said the Amtrak train left the Raleigh station headed for Cary last night when the train stopped and passengers were told a person was hit and had been killed on the tracks. The incident happened on Pullen Road at Baver Drive. The roads were closed while authorities investigated, but have since reopened this morning.
Happening today, emergency officials will be in Nash and Edgecombe counties to assess the damage from last week's EF3 tornado. These evaluations will let us know how much help is needed from the government. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains how long this will take.
That damage assessment begins today and should last until Wednesday, and state aides have a lot to work through. Communities look a lot like this. This is a mobile home community on Town Hall Road in Dorches. You can see that a mobile home was destroyed during Wednesday's tornado. And then there's a dumpster right there. There's about 3 of them that look just like this, full of trash and debris. And then if you pan over here, you can see what's left of a metal fence. There used to be trees that were all along the fence, but now all of that is gone. We'll know just how much federal and state aid is needed based on the results that come out of that damage assessment. Governor Cooper toured the area yesterday. He says the state is considering updating building codes in the future to make sure homes are more resilient after storms. But for now, he says we should be thankful that everyone who was injured during the storm is now out of the hospital. The state's next step is to figure out how they can best help people who lost almost everything.
We'll do everything that we can from state and federal perspective to try to help them in any way and to provide any assistance that they need.
One of the biggest questions we've had since the tornado is what's next for Pfizer. The company has agreed to pay contractors and employees who are without work right now. The site is open and they're hoping to get back to work as soon as possible. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Dorchester.
The man charged with stabbing 3 people in Oxford last Monday will be in court this morning. According to court documents, 21-year-old Malik Webb was transferred to another facility last week to get mental health treatment. The documents also name the 3 victims, Edward Shaw, Robert Frazier, and Terry Hobgood. The police chief told WRAL they still don't know a motive.
And today we expect to get an update on the recovery plan for businesses in Chapel Hill that were damaged by a fire. A group including officials with the town of Chapel Hill and Chamber of Commerce is working to determine what the businesses need. Fire tore through Mediterranean Deli on Saturday, and the owner tells us he started 33 years ago with just 6 tables and 4 chairs. He has expanded the deli a half a dozen times over the years. Jamil Kadora says his longtime regular customers are stepping up to offer any help they can after the fire.
Standing here yesterday, watching everything, a guy comes in and said, "This check for you." I opened the check and it's $1,000 to my name. I said, "No, sir, I can't take this." He said, "No, it's for your employees."
Kadora says he is grateful that no one was hurt. He also thanked the firefighters who jumped in to stop the fire.
And Michelle, investigators are still trying to figure out the cause of that fire. Kadora says before the fire happened, he called his roofer to fix a leak. He believes a flame used to seal the rubber on the roof may have sparked that fire. And there is a verified GoFundMe page set up for Med Deli employees. About 1,400 people have donated so far, totaling more than $85,000. Police have named the victim and identified the suspect they're searching for after a shooting on Dudley Road in Wake County. This is the picture of the suspect, 20-year-old Hamza Thompson of Fayetteville. Deputies obtained warrants on him for first-degree murder. Detectives also identified the victim, 34-year-old Bryant King, also of Fayetteville. This happened around 8 o'clock Saturday night.
The clock is ticking for a historic strike vote involving thousands of UPS workers nationwide. The negotiations between UPS and Teamsters have not reached a deal. The current contract expires 1 week from today. The Teamsters union president held a rally over the weekend, asserting they are organized ahead of negotiations set to resume this week.
We do not get a deal. UPS has chose to strike themselves. And we will withhold our labor July 31st at 12:01 a.m. But if we get a tentative agreement subject to ratification and we're going to recommend it, then we will not withhold our labor.
Negotiators for the 2 sides plan to meet up in Washington tomorrow.
Coming up in 20 minutes before 9, it is official. Elon Musk has rebranded Twitter to X. The changes you'll see next time you log in, and what Musk is planning to call tweets and followers from now on.
Plus, areas like Arizona are seeing continued extreme heat in the hundreds. It's forcing zookeepers to be creative in how to keep their animals cool. The unique techniques next.
Let's give you this live look in Lewisburg this morning. It's not going to be as muggy today as it has been. Temps could be below 90. But Elizabeth Gardner will break down how much humidity we can expect in the days to come.
Welcome back on your Monday morning. This is a look over downtown Raleigh, the Museum of Natural Sciences. The sun is shining, but check out those clouds in the distance. A lot of us did see that heavy rain overnight, woke some of us up. Elizabeth Gardner standing by with what we can expect today. Rain not out of the forecast completely. There is still a chance for later.
In the summer, it's like there's always a chance. A little cell could pop up here or there for sure. Everything is quiet for the most part right now. We did have some showers and thunderstorms overnight last night. One of those around the Triangle area that sparked a severe thunderstorm warning, but no damage. And then more of those along the I-95 corridor earlier this morning. But again, like I said, a lot of that's moved on out. It was one tiny shower up near the Virginia line there, but it's a tiny little thing. It's possible that we could see 1 or 2 more bubbling up between now and lunchtime, but a better chance that late today, talking evening, we could see some storms pop up in our southern counties. What we're seeing right now is a good bit of cloud cover. We'll likely start to see more of the sunshine breaking through during the afternoon, but temperatures should still hold in the mid to upper 80s. It'll feel a lot like Saturday, where, it's muggy. It was less muggy Saturday. Saturday was a little more comfortable. It's sticky out there, but our temperatures are likely to stay in the upper 80s. So it will be technically the coolest day of the week, again, with some late day thunderstorms popping up down south. There's 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock this evening. But we're feeling tropical right now. Our dew point's at 71, so that's way up there. Our summer heat will be building this week. 87 our high this afternoon, but with that dew point way up in the 70s, it'll really feel like 94. That's not terribly comfortable, but it just gets worse from here. Tomorrow's high 92, it'll feel like 99, and then Wednesday 93, it'll feel like 101. And on Wednesday, when we kick off that first day in the triple digits with the heat index the first day this week, it's going to be the case all the way through the remainder of the week. So by Friday and Saturday, it's likely to feel like 106, maybe even 108 in some places on Saturday. So both those days, Saturday in particular, with that high of 98, we'll be watching for a heat advisory. Now, I will say that there have been several occasions this summer where, 3 or 4 or 5 days out, it's looked like we might hit that 105 or hotter, and we haven't. So maybe we'll get lucky again this weekend and see those temperatures backing off before the weekend arrives. But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 days out of the last 23 have been in the 90s. So it has been hot. We have surpassed our normal average of 15 90-plus days in the month of July at RDU. And, of course, no help in sight. Pretty much the entire country will feel above normal for the end of July and into the beginning of August. So there's that 87. For what it's worth, it's still going to feel pretty toasty to us this afternoon. Notice we don't have a lot of rain chances. We get into Sunday, we're back to a 30% chance, but it's going to be so hot out there that you may need to drag out the sprinklers for your garden.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Wildfires on the Greek island of Rhodes are raging for a 6th straight day now, forcing people who live there and are visiting to flee. People are leaving on boats and planes, some staying in makeshift shelters on safe parts of the island. Greece's Foreign Affairs Office says it is working to help tourists who may have left behind their travel documents during the rush.
This is the largest undertaking of safe transport of residents and tourists that have ever been carried out in our country.
All this is happening as heat wave Cleon continues to scorch Greece. Despite this, summer vacationers are braving the triple-digit temperatures to tour the country's historic sites. Some of those tourist spots, though, have been closing during the afternoon to help their employees beat the heat.
The death toll from a devastating landslide in the Indian town of Raigad has now risen to at least 86 people. This number includes the 57 who are still missing but have been declared dead. Authorities called off search and rescue operations yesterday, 4 days after that landslide happened. The disaster was triggered by heavy rains last week. The Indian Meteorology Department has issued warnings of more rains this week. District officials have ordered schools and colleges to close.
This week, there's a chance we may learn more about whether we are alone in the universe. House lawmakers will hold a hearing Wednesday on UFOs and their possible threats to national security. UFO researchers are hopeful the government will release more information about what they think may be out there.
Now, we don't know what UFOs represent to humanity yet, but these hearings coming up, that's hopefully what will shed some light on the capabilities of these advanced vehicles. Whose are they?
Air Force veteran David Grush is among the people set to testify. He has previously made claims that the government has withheld information pertaining to UFOs.
A grim milestone for the U.S. as the number of mass shootings in 2023 is now more than 400. According to the Gun Violence Archive, mass shootings over the weekend brought the total in 2023 to 405. In 2022, there were 647. The highest number on record was 2021, where there were 690. The Gun Violence Archive defines a mass shooting as a shooting where at least 4 people are hurt or killed, not including the shooter.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, Israel is bracing for the results of a big vote by lawmakers to limit the country's Supreme Court's power. It has provoked massive unrest there. Critics say it would erode one of the few checks on government power.
while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the legislation is necessary to prevent a judicial outbreak. Now, lawmakers started their series of vote over an hour ago. Meanwhile, outside the government building, protesters are tenting out, blocking roads, being blasted by police from water cannons, protesting this vote. We'll keep an eye on this situation as it unfolds over the next few hours while lawmakers take their vote.
Thanks, Renee. People in one particular community came together over the weekend to show their support for a well-known dairy farmer who was injured in a bull attack earlier this year. Friends, loved ones, and colleagues hosted a fundraiser Sunday for Randy Lewis at Crafton Food in Knightdale. Many of his colleagues in the agricultural industry from across the state, including chefs, wanted to step up and show their support and help any way they could, including preparing dishes using milk from Lewis's farm. Lewis says his recovery is going well, and he is very grateful for their support. Among the new digital DVD and music releases available to add to your home library, a comedy borrowing the image of iconic painter Bob Ross and rapper Post Malone's fifth album. Here's Ashley Dvorkin with a breakdown of new releases.
Just splash it onto there. Don't worry, it's not rocket science. It's harder.
Topping this week's list of what's new in home entertainment, the comedy Paint, starring Owen Wilson as a top public television painter contending with a younger artist. Josh Duhamel reunites with his crew in the comedic sequel, Buddy Games: Spring Awakening. He also directed the film that follows the gang coming back together to honor a lost friend, but get caught in the middle of spring break where they try to keep up with the festivities.
Something isn't right.
Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman unite to lead an entire planet to freedom in the DC Universe animated movie Justice League War World.
I found the connection between the folks that were infected. They all visited Alcatraz recently.
A zombie outbreak in San Francisco gets traced back to Alcatraz Island in the CG animated film Resident Evil: Death Island.
What does it feel like?
Small screen favorites to own, Season 2 of the British crime drama Gangs of London, and Season 5 of the CBS comedy series The Neighborhood, starring Cedric the Entertainer and Max Greenfield. And for music fans, Grammy-nominated rapper Post Malone drops his fifth album, Austin.
That was Ashley Dvorkin reporting. Well, while we're trying to stay cool this summer, zoos and areas dealing with extreme heat are getting creative to keep their animals cool as well. Yesterday, Phoenix, Arizona experienced its 24th straight day of temperatures at or above 110 degrees. The conditions causing workers at the Phoenix Zoo to give animals cold showers and icy treats.
These are what some of our horse treats, ice treats look like. They have apples and carrots and sometimes Gatorade water, sometimes just normal water.
Yeah, they need relief too. Look at this. Mounds of ice cubes at Florida's Palm Beach Zoo are the latest addition to many animal enclosures. And some zoos overseas are making popsicles for animals using watermelons, sardines, meat, and other foods as well.
Well, maybe you've seen this on your social media feeds. Movie theaters are full of Barbies as fans are coming to see the new movie in style. Some people are going all out as they show up to see the new movie. The theaters are turning into seas and seats of pink as fans do their best Barbie impressions with their outfits. These are just some of the videos going viral on TikTok. Fans getting caught up in all that Barbie fever.
Very creative. I like it. All right, next time you log on to Twitter, it's going to look a little different. Elon Musk changed its branding to X. He tweeted an image of the new logo yesterday. This is it. And the changes went into effect today. Musk owns SpaceX. Tesla has a Model X. And he also has a son named X. He wrote, tweets will now be called an X and followers will be called viewers. Interesting. I mean, it's such a huge platform and so many people just know it as Twitter. So I think it's going to be a little difficult for some people to say Twitter. I mean X, right? X, not Twitter, but Twitter, but X.
Send
I
an
know.
X.
Yeah.
It's bye-bye birdie also. The blue bird gone.
Yeah, done.
Back with weather and traffic after this.